They were trying. They were trying. I don't think Randy's a scholar either, so I'm not mad at it. You
Yeah, I
know,
feel you.
that whole thing, that whole segment. I was like, there better be some wrestling at the end of all this. There better be some
The
goddamn wrestling.
funniest part about that is watching Chad Gable miss time telling the guy he doesn't need the definition because the dude got the most important part of that definition out before Chad said it. That's why I was like, that's why when he was spelling shit, I was like, wait a minute, what did he? How'd you not hear what the fuck he said?
I don't know. It was weird. All that shit is weird, man.
It's
All of it's weird.
all right, before we go off the rails and make this a wrestling show, Lay mentioned earlier in the podcast he wanted to talk about the Moonlight trailer.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was funny. I know, man. I'm a fan of Oscar Isaac, and I think he's gonna do great in it. They showed a lot, but then not so much. So I was like, enough that you're like, okay, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? And I read somewhere who Ethan Hawke is supposed to play. Was supposed to be playing, but I can't remember the name of it. Save my life. Yeah, I know he's supposed to be a scientist or something like that.
He's playing. I forget the guy's name, and I'm on my phone right now, so I can't look it up. But it's an obscure character that was in a Moon Knight issue for like 1 or 2 runs, and initially he's just like a mad scientist dude, not really anything to scoff at.
Yeah, well,
but I think that what they're doing is they're taking that as a basis and adding it to some other character to come up with this new version of it.
Yeah.
Arthur Harrow. Harrow.
Yeah. He was apparently he was before a Nazi scientist because all
doing weird
Nazis
experiments.
At the end of the day were Marvel. All the evil is Nazis and Hydra.
Well, now that's what happens when almost all your writers are Jewish Americans. They're gonna, especially at that time, they're gonna pick the biggest threat to hate on.
This is true. This is actually very true. Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, I like the fact that one where he gets the call and the girl goes, "Mark." He goes, "Why'd you call me Mark?" Like, oh, there it is.
Now I don't know how much I want to say because I know Toe don't like spoilers, but if you just know who Moon Knight is, technically these are not spoilers.
Yeah,
no, but good.
Now, so it's funny. He suffers from I forget how they word it now, but it's a personality disorder where he has 3 personalities, which initially in the comics he used as they weren't 3 parts of his mind. He just had 3 different personas. He had the mercenary, who was Mark. Then he had Steven, which was like a taxi driver, that was the ears to the street, the guy who could just be unseen and know everything. And then he had I forget what the other guy's name is, but he was like a billionaire Tony Stark dude that got him in all the doors that he needed to get into. And then when they did the rewrites, it all became that not Anubis. I'm really bad with the Egyptian names, but the actual god of the moon.
God damn it! I just had it too.
Yeah, but the guy who possessed him, who gives him the powers.
Yeah.
Him being in his mind actually fractured him into 3 different personalities.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 second. But yeah, it's
essentially like a cage.
Okay. That's actually pretty dope. Like because to me, I get a little bit of a Batman vibe because even though he has different personalities,
Is it Khonshu?
Khonshu, yes, Khonshu.
Yeah, Khonshu. That's it. But yeah, that's people ultimately compare to Batman all the time. That's like what everybody says.
See, there's a major so here's the difference. Right, I'll sum it up beautifully with a line. So Batman's most famous line is, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." Right? He's the threat you don't see coming. Moon Knight has said in the comics, he wears white not so that you see him coming. He wears white because he wants you to know he's there. Because there's nothing you can do to stop him. He wants you to be ready because you're still not going to do shit to him.
He's also surprised, motherfucker. What up, Arcade?
Was it Taskmaster goes, he hates copying Moon Knight because Moon Knight will willingly take a punch to deliver 5. He hates copying because like, yo, you'll get hit, but you'll be like, it's gonna hurt when I come back. I'm coming with the thunder.
My man said it's gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is Marvel's entry point into tackling not only a darker subject matter, but actually tackling something that doesn't get talked about enough. And that's so Spider-Man had to do with the fame part of superheroism. But you don't really get to talk too much about what being a hero or doing all this shit and having powers and gods talk to you and all that, how that really messes with a psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, like let's say like police officers, you're on the job, all right, 25 years, but that's 25 years that potentially you're getting calls to violent acts, horrible crimes, messed up things. Like nobody really talks about the toll that alone takes. So this can open up the door to, especially like with his disorder, of not only shedding some light on it, which I hope they do. I mean, this is not going to be like a fucking TED Talk seminar about it, but I hope they do it some justice and not just like the bullshit Hollywood does. But this can open up the door to talk about it, to normalize it, to show that if you are suffering with some sort of this infliction, that you can get help. It's not something to run from. It's not something to be shamed for. Kind of like how Echo, she was an amputee, she's deaf, but they never really harped on her. They never really harped on that hindering her. They actually harped on it being an asset.
Absolutely.
And that's a message that should be, talked about more. Those two things is how you can turn something that you think is a disability into an asset. But in the rare cases where you can't, you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it or to get help or to,
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Saying it's because it's one of those things that you read about or you see it, and whenever they've done it before in Hollywood, it's always been made fun of in a sense. It was like pointed at as funny, and hopefully with a guy like Oscar Isaac, which is a great actor, and Marvel being sensitive to certain things, which they have been. They've dealt with a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? And like Matt Murdock, how'd you do that? I'm a good lawyer. I'm a really good lawyer. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you can take it tongue in cheek, but give it some importance. You know what I mean? Because for the love of God, if you see the trailer, the dude is like chained to his bed. I guess because I don't know, the personalities wake him up before he does something stupid. So I guess he's like trying to secure himself not to do anything crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so okay. I think that's part of the thing is he doesn't know what he does when somebody else takes over. He's unaware.
Yeah.
But so like let's say Steven doesn't know what happens when one of the other guys takes over, but he knows something does happen.
Yeah.
So I think that, and he says it in the trailer, that he's becoming it's getting harder and harder for him to distinguish what's reality and what's not. So I think he just was locking himself up to try to figure that out. Yeah. But that's another thing that I hope they address. is if you really have 3 personalities that switch in and out, how does your body rest if when you think you're sleeping, somebody else is taking over?
That's true. That's absolutely true. That has to. I make sure to see that like it's a like part of your mind has a micro nap or something like that. Like part of your mind is asleep. You know what I mean? And
Like
I know
Yeah,
that
like
I don't doesn't do anything for the body. You know what I mean? But maybe
yeah,
with Gunshoe, it kind of explains with the God. It kind of is like, well, you're an autopilot when I'm taking over. Like
yeah,
I
you're
take
an
over, you're an
unconscious state.
autopilot. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
they had a scene.
everything else is asleep. I just need your body. I don't need you to be aware. It's funny. I remember
Yeah,
somebody was said about the
But
suit, like he looks like a mummy. I was like,
yeah, but that's the point.
you know anything about Egyptian lore?
Yeah, the motherfucker's Egyptian.
You morons! I'm like, oh, it looks too much like um, Moon Knight, an pretty much an Egyptian superhero in the sense of with the powers. No, you're right. That didn't make any sense. Even
Dude,
though it
well,
looks 80% like the actual costume, but whatever. I don't know.
you got to make it make sense in a real world setting. Like just putting on a fucking skin tight white Under Armour shirt and a hood is not gonna cut it, man. Like it might work for your cosplay at Comic Con, but it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
And
I'm over here like I read one comment. He goes, "How does it make sense that that's what it looks like?" Somebody goes, "Mummy," and the guy goes, "I don't get it." Really? You don't? Do you know anything about the character? Because now you're just talking out of your ass. You know what I'm saying?
shit.
Like the one costume I didn't like is the Batgirl costume.
really, I
From the
thought that
TV
Oh,
looked
show.
pretty good.
I wasn't a fan of it. I was like, yeah, well, you know.
You know some of those.
I would prefer the black and silk, the black and gold one from like the Arkham's game, but you know, what can you do?
Well, we got to see what it looks like on camera because
That's
sometimes the still picture doesn't
yeah,
really do justice to it.
this is true. Agreed. It's true, but you know, for right now, I'm like,
I have
come.
a good idea here to bring it back to the topic of the day.
Mhm.
We should each go around and pick a character for somebody else to defend.
We could do that, but I know Cabs wanted to talk about Aquaman.
Oh yes.
And
That is legit. That one, Cap and Aquaman is legit. I tell you
yeah,
right now, Cap's and Aquaman, known it for years.
Lay, do you want to give some insight on why Cabs hates Aquaman?
Well, if I remember correctly, it's just I don't know how to say this. And by the way, the guy that got picked to play Aquaman, he's not a fan of him either. So it's like you're layering what he's not a fan of. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's honestly, it's just the fact that he's Aqua. Is like, first of all, when we were growing up, Aquaman was never taken seriously. You know, what was the running joke with Aquaman? It's a guy that talks to fishes.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, if you know anything about Aquaman, he's as strong as Superman. His trident can actually penetrate Superman's skin. He literally dominates 3/4 of the world, the ocean.
Which is funny because one of the jokes was, well, he can't do shit once he gets to land,
which is a lot.
as if he was a fish. Like,
yeah, which is a lot because he's half and half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever. But to me, the Cabs is the lack of seriousness was taken and how they try to turn that seriousness. And like I said, then the guy chosen to play him, he has where he feels Jason Momoa he's a toxic masculinity. I believe, like, dude, we get it. You're a guy. Yes, you do all this shit, whatever. Then you mix the least favorite person he doesn't like, and then you put him with that guy, and you're just like, oh, you're just trying to piss this guy off now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you're doing everything to make this guy not like this character even more. You know? So yeah, it's I'm pretty sure I'm missing a lot, But I know for a fact it's just like fuck Aquaman. It's like I can like sum it up with that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like to hear what he would have said to defend him.
No, you know what? Next week we got to give him the time in the beginning of it so he can get it out because I'm really interested to hear him defend him.
Yeah,
I'm really interested because there's a lot if you know the lore of Aquaman that you can defend him with. I just named like 3 things. You know what I mean? But there's more. He does have an interesting backstory. You know what I mean? And in the movies, what's cool? Boba Fett is his father, and that's dope. It's like, your dad is Boba Fett. Clearly he gets around to all kind of universes, but it's dope. But he does have a very interesting lore about him. You know what I mean? I think he has one of my favorite villains in Black Manta. Because Black Manta gives him shit, and he's just human. You're like, how's he getting away with that? And that's like his Lex Luthor because he's always around. It's like you can never get rid of that dude. You know what I mean? So I'm saying, but I'm really would just like to him get some time to do it next week. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Just sit back and go, let me see what he says.
Oh yeah, that would be dope.
It, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would honestly like to hear Show, and if I can, please. Show, I want to hear you defend Iron Man. Yo, my man, that's a give me.
It kind of is. I appreciate you because Iron Man is the coolest Avenger of them all. I mean, my man is intelligent. He's rich. He has the suit. He has Pepper. Is it Piper?
Pepper. You're right.
Pepper. I had it. Damn, I can't even.
No, you're right. You said Pepper. You're right. Pepper Potts.
Pepper Potts. You got Pepper.
You got
I feel
salt.
like salt. He got salt.
What up, Blue Cheese?
Yo.
Yeah, what?
Say he got pepper. You need some salt.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that, what more can I say? I mean, he's beloved amongst everybody. I don't think there's anybody that dislikes. Well, I'm lying because I think lately you dislike Iron Man, or is it somebody that always says he's a? There you go. Never mind then. I was gonna state that I don't think there's anybody out there that's gonna dislike Iron Man, but there is, and I would love.
I don't like Iron Man, the comic book character.
Now, Cap, would you like to tell me why you don't like Iron Man?
Oh, it's probably for the same reason, Blay. He's an alcoholic, fucking self-aggrandizing asshole who thinks he's way more important than he really is. And the only reason he's important now in the comics is because Robert Downey Jr. made a fucking movie about him. That's the only reason people give a shit about him now.
Absolutely correct. Like I said, RDJ is awesome, but the Iron Man in the comic book is such a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like a grandstanding piece of shit. That's what he is, honestly. You know what I mean? And yes, he's intelligent, but he's not the most intelligent person in Marvel. He barely cracking top 5. You know what I mean? In reality, he's barely cracking top 5. You know what I'm saying? But RDJ did a great job, and now he's been. I mean, with all due respect, Cap, Thor, and Iron Man were not top tier like heroes, and then they did the movies, and it's like you know what I'm saying? People would have honestly called them B-list, to be real with you, and they you know what I'm saying?
Yo, I actually heard before Iron Man came out, the critics, when they heard that they were making a movie, were saying that Iron Man specifically was a C-list hero with D-tier fucking villains and shit.
Yep, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And it was just in the movie elevated. But if you read his comics enough, you start to realize there's very few redeeming qualities about him.
Yeah, like even characters in the comics hate him.
Yeah, it's like other people put him on a pedestal or like, Like, oh, well, he has this quality. Yeah, but for every one you name, I can name you 6 that make him a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
It's funny. I always favored War Machine over Iron Man.
No, because James Rhodes is a stand-up fucking guy.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
100%. 100%. You know what I mean? He's literally like, if I'm gonna pick between both of them, I'm be like, yo, I'd rather have James Rhodes on my side any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
I can depend on him. You know what I mean? To make it's like Cap said in the movie. You're never gonna make the choice like that. You make it 1 out of 10 times. James will make it 10 out of 10 times. You know what I mean?
Damn. Full circle.
Yep.
Fucking War Machine. Didn't Vision hit him with a fucking ray when he missed? See? Full circle, baby. Bring it right back to Vision.
Yep.
Yeah. I got somebody for Lay or for toe tags. Which one of you guys wanted? Because one of them honestly was supposed to be for show, but I'm gonna give it to toe tag because it'd probably be equally as funny to watch him be like, "What?
Oh, give it a toe. I'm with it. Give it a toe.
But before I do that, I just want to say, Lay, I had one that I picked specifically for you because I in the car with Toe this morning. I was like, yeah, I'm surprised Lay wouldn't have picked this person. But Toe, I want you to defend Namor, the Submariner, the superhero. I'm gonna give you a little bit about him. The superhero who doesn't really give a shit about people on land, only cares about Atlantis, has some weird fucking obsession with Sue Storm. He's really forceful with her, despite the fact that she does not want him at all. I don't even think there's ever been like a true tease that they were together. It's always been like a forced thing with him. He's the worst part of the Illuminati. He's always been more respected from a reader standpoint and from a writer standpoint than Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
But he's always been the least important fucking person in Marvel.
Okay.
So and here's another fun fact. He's technically like the first mutant that they printed.
Yeah.
Because he's a mutant. He's a mutant. It's hilarious. You know, like they say like that Apocalypse is the first mutant in the races. He's the first mutant that you've seen on thing.
Yeah. And on top of that, the X-Men want nothing to do with his ass.
Yes. So, nobody claims him.
So, go ahead and defend Namor, the Submariner.
All right.
I'll be right back.
So, the little bit I know about Namor is that, like you said, he's the ruler of Atlantis, kind of similar to Aquaman. He's Marvel's version of Aquaman. And one of the things that I've seen about him, and it could be fan theory, but it was one of those that when the Eternals came to this planet, they tried to they tried to take over the planet, and Namor and his people were like defending themselves against them, and that's what sank Atlantis, and all of his people turned into the underwater dwellers, and they just ruled over there, and that's why they didn't want no piece of the land dwellers, because no one helped them out when they were defending their own against the Eternals. And they said, fuck these people, you left us here to die, we adapted, and we're not gonna stay here like that. Am I right on that part or no?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay. So the fact that Namor and his people were strong enough to at least hold their own against the Eternals, and then adapt to being underwater life, civilians, and keep the land of Atlantis going underwater while it was basically flooded out and destroyed by the Eternals and all that. I think that's pretty dope. Just the willpower of his people and him as a leader to keep that shit running is kind of dope. And that fact, it's almost kind of like their Wakanda, which also he goes to war with the Black Panther and Wakanda for the vibranium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But now he wants to lay claim to the vibranium because that landed on his, like, he had vibranium also, like the meteor landed on his territory and or some shit like that.
So I don't know the exact reasoning, but Namor is that arrogant to believe that anything that has ever touched water on Earth belongs to him.
Okay. So I mean, like, he's strong enough to fight the Eternals, and he has an army strong enough to fight the Wakandans for the vibranium. Now, I was aware that he was obsessed with Sue Storm. I don't know why, but could it be anyway because he doesn't like Reed Richards?
It's Jessica
No.
Alba. What's wrong with you?
It's true. It's true.
I think it's a tongue-in-cheek reference to like the creature, the Black Lagoon or the Blue Lagoon,
Okay.
where he saw her and that's the lock right there.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. It's like, he in the MCU, he has the potential to be the thing that unlocks the next phases or the next evolution of the MCU, because just like how Wakanda unlocked all this technology and people that are smarter than Tony Stark. What's going on, LaFlaca? They people that are smarter than Tony Stark to show that Tony Stark is a genius, but he's nowhere near the level of intellect as someone like Siri. Black Panther's sister in the MCU. So, and it also shows that now if we get the Fantastic Four, because Namor also fights the Fantastic Four, like you said, with that, it also shows Reed Richards could be just as smart as Siri, or even smarter. And it basically goes, here goes base level Tony Stark and what we could do, and now here goes the Black Panther and the technology we have, and now Namor, a world that we only hear about in fantasy, in legend, because Atlantis is still something that people are looking for. There are real life people out in sea looking for the fucking the land of Atlantis.
The lost city.
The lost city of Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a legend, and that's something they adopted in the Marvel universe, but also it can bring plenty of other characters, maybe that are not in the comics but could be in the universe, to adopt other characters, like maybe a Dracula or something like that, into the universe. So Namor, the character himself, can be almost an unlimited vessel for the MCU to expand into different different value paths on which they can make TV shows, movies, and comics, even if they wanted to, just to to bring the MCU to life further onto stuff like that. And it also shows a different power and a different mentality and a different way of thinking towards how people are in MCU, because like Cap had a will that we're gonna do what's right, and these are my people, and I'm gonna stand here and I'm willing to die for this. Where T'Challa, T'Challa was, I'm here to protect my people and only my people, but he was convinced maybe my people will be better protected if I brought this technology to the rest of the world, and then we were accepted. And Thanos was, I have to protect you against yourself. Where Namor is, fuck all of y'all. I want nothing to do with any of you. But if you fuck with me, I'm killing you. You know what I'm saying? And we don't have a lot of that mentality in the MCU right now.
True.
And I think bringing that mentality can bring a darker mentality where Blade and Moon Knight and the Knight, what is it? The Dark Knight, the guy from Game of Thrones is playing?
Black Knight.
Black Knight, can be. And and like I said, that could just be another venue for them. And they threw hints of him in there, so I think this character is beneficial for at least the MCU.
Shit, that's way better than I thought. And to think I was gonna give that to Show.
Hell no. Who the hell is?
I'm kind of upset you did it.
Right?
Hell no.
I know a little bit about a little bit.
I mean, that's probably one of the best ways to introduce Doctor Doom, even because him and Doctor Doom stay going at it. Latveria, Wakanda, and Atlantis are always at war with each other.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, because they're two rulers, right? Namor and Doctor Doom are pretty much cut from the same cloth. They rule their own thing with iron fists, and they don't allow outside forces, but they do think that their way of ruling suits the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Namor's a little less ruling the world. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all Doctor Doom. He's like, if I could lead my country, I can lead the world.
Yeah.
And then the universe, because the world is not enough. That's right. I reference a terrible James Bond movie.
But technically it's not, because he ruled Asgard and he turned himself into a god and became bored and said, fuck it, I'm gonna go back to who I was before. Because at least there was a challenge.
He started Battleworld again.
Shit.
That's something that the Beyonders started.
Exactly. He took the Beyonders. And it's funny because in that one, Doctor Strange is his right-hand man.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, him and Reed Richards, they both answer to him.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, Doom was loving the fact that Reed Richards was doing it.
Yeah, word. Real quick, La Flaca, that's what's up. You just came from the Knicks game, right? The Knicks versus
I love the fact that she says Lakers game like the Knicks weren't there.
Yeah. well, in all honesty, you go there for fucking LeBron. The Knicks weren't there. LeBron was shooting on the court.
I thought the Lakers were playing the Nets.
Are they playing the Nets? I don't know.
Could be. I mean, she's just referencing everybody had Knicks jerseys and they were chanting for Melo. So,
somebody on one of my coworkers was happy that she was going to the Barclays Center to watch LeBron James today.
Okay, then it was the Nets then.
The Lakers was in Brooklyn?
To be completely honest, I don't know if this girl knows sports. She's just happy. She was just happy to go see LeBron.
No, they played the Nets tonight. They beat the Nets 106-96. So yeah, they played the Nets. It could have just been a New York thing.
That was Knucklehead Sports Talk.
There you go.
Next caller.
So who are you gonna give me cap? I'm sorry, what?
Huh?
You say you were trying to tell something about something in the card. Who did?
Oh yeah.
You thought I was gonna pick?
Oh yeah. So my person for you, Captain Marvel.
Oh wow! No, well, here's the thing. This is my thing, and I was explaining this to a friend of mine the other day. Right, the classic Captain Marvel, I had no problem with. It's this new version, right? It's almost like you took everything that people dislike about a feminist and you put it into a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what it is. Now, to defend her is one thing. First of all, she's powerful. I'm just gonna get it out there. You know what I mean? Her power set is she's legit, top tier. You want to bring a fight, she can do it. I mean, if you want to take out an army, she can do it by herself. You know what I mean? She does have just like Cyclops, she's a great leader, when she needs to be. You know what I mean? Little headstrong sometimes, like stubborn. You know what I mean? But with most great leaders, that happens a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, I have one track mind. This is what I need to do. We need to get it done. You know what I mean? And she did inspire Kamala Khan, which is a great thing for her because her inspiration brought a great character to all of us. You know what I mean? There's kids reading where she's from, even though she's from Jersey. Kamala, I'm sorry. It's just, that's a takeaway. You lose 1 point for that.
That's true, yeah.
This is a character inspiring other kids that look like her to want to read, to want to be something different and special. And they know they can now. They're being represented. We said representation is very important, And then again, she's also a very powerful female lead, and she was the first one to get her own movie. Hence, I don't like the actress who played her at all. I'll tell you right now, all day. You go, fuck her. But it is a powerful female lead. Period. Even if it's just a glorified Green Lantern movie. But it is that. It's still, and it made enough money where we can get a new one the Marvels, where we have 3 powerful female leads. So, keeping that trend, and then one of them is Kamala, and the other one is an African American young woman. So, we're getting that progress slowly. You know what I mean? So that's the way I can defend her easily. It's a powerful character that's a woman that's introducing more powerful characters that are women, but that are also showing more representation for everyone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The same way some kids saw Black Panther and then saw Wakanda and saw all these aspiring people, except for Michael B. Jordan and his Drake version. They said everybody else, you know what I mean? It's a great thing to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can defend her with that. I was like, powerful character and doing great things for more characters. And another thing is we get more interstellar movies. And in case you know what that means space. We get more space stories. And when you get space, you get guys like Nova. You can get the Beyonders, who we reference when Doom got those powers. He took it from the Beyonder, because he's the one that made Battle World, So, you can do that. You know what I mean? And you also get the Skrulls. We can get Hulkling like that to be part of the Young Avengers. So many leads when you go back into space that we only don't need the Guardians of the Galaxy to do it. We have these 3 powerful female characters that can do it.
Nice. Well put. Both of you guys. Well put.
But I did my best not to be about her. Split her off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it funny that you and Cabs, you guys' both takes is that he was like Drake. But if you look at why he was mad at T'Challa, it's literally, you don't call me on my cell phone.
It's pretty much it. Do yourself a favor. You look at the way he's dressed at the very beginning of it, like when he's in the museum, and look at any Drake video.
Yeah.
And then when Cabs told me like they're friends, I didn't know that, but I see it now. When Cabs said, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even make that connection, bro, because I didn't care.
Yeah.
But he was one of the most sympathetic villains I've ever seen. He is nowhere near Winter Soldier, but I understand, I get it. Like, you killed my pops in front of me. That's pretty fucked up. I get it. You know what I mean? I understand completely. You know what I'm saying? I remember when they were talking about bringing him back, I was like, don't do that. Because you're going to kill whatever he was standing for, you're going to kill it all if you bring him back.
Yeah, because now he's going to be forced to be like, nah, screw it. It's just, I'm on your side now.
I was like,
that was my thing with the what if. That's the only time I didn't like Killmonger. Because it's like, Tony, you're supposed to be the smartest person in the room. You can't see through this bullshit? Like Siri saw through it immediately.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but once again, when me and Cap was talking about, they put him here when he's really not, you know what I mean? Like he should be able to see that. You know what I mean? Like somebody like Reed Richard would never see it because he doesn't have the human contact like that. Like he can't read bullshit. He'll take stuff at face value, like literally. But if you tell that nigga to solve time travel, he'll look at you like, give me 2 minutes, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
There you go. Go, we gotta go. But if you're conning him, he'll go, yeah, I'll buy that. You know what I mean? But Tony works in business. He should know these things. He works deals every day. I'm like, you trying to hustle me, brother? I see it.
I have one question that I didn't think about until just now. Till our conversation right now. The shit on the inside of his lip. The Wakandan symbols. How the fuck did he get that? Was he born? Is that something you're born with? Or is that something you acquire?
I think his father gave him to him.
He had that glowing ink? Because I thought it was just like only the royal bloodline that has that in their thing. I don't remember them saying specifically that you get it tattooed on there.
Yeah.
I don't recall that, to be honest with you. That's like,
because I just find it weird that you would live that amount of time with that in your lip and not once like, hey, what the fuck is this? Because it seemed like if T'Chaka never showed up at that moment, he would have never did whatever the fuck he did.
Nope.
So he would have never known because his father was excommunicated. He wasn't gonna fucking go back anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But what
So
he
would have just had that shit in his list of his life.
what did he kill him for? Because he had the kid, or because he was giving vibranium to the other dude?
Because he sold out the country and he was selling vibranium illegally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think he went out there to specifically kill him. I think just in the tussle, he wanted to.
Like his thing was like, yo, you're never coming back. You're done with us. And all of a sudden, they got into something, or something simple. But yeah, I don't think they ever like really say you get it tatted on there, or is it just because you're part of the bloodline?
Yeah, because
in fact, you could only have the herb, the Hershey herb, if you're part of the bloodline. I have no idea about that tattoo.
Yeah, because when he pulled it, I was just like everybody in that room, like, where the fuck you get that from?
So
that means everybody there has that.
That's another thing. Nobody else turned around and also fucking pulled it down. They just all went, oh, he has it. Okay.
John didn't do that. I didn't see him go. I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember them really explaining that. Like, how do you get that? You know what I'm saying? Strange, but those are little details you can gloss over, I guess. By the way, I was not a fan of them killing off Ulysses Claw. He was hilarious.
Yo, he was having so much fun as that character.
Yep.
That's why I enjoyed him so much. Just watching him get to play around in that space. I was like, yo, I want to watch this dude forever.
Yeah. He's awesome, man. I mean, he goes, I made it rain. I'm like,
yeah, I don't have the answer of how he got the tattoo, but they do say that all Wakandans have a mark, and iridescent lower lip tattoo that identifies them as descendants of the nation. So it could have just been that his father tattooed him to show that he is Wakandan.
You know what? I have a weird theory that I don't think is ever going to play out, and it might not actually make sense. But what's his name? Shit. I forgot the name of the character, but Black Panther's girlfriend, for lack of a better term. You know how she was doing shit outside of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She could have been the one who gave that to him.
That's true. Yeah, because she was on a spy mission, right?
Yeah. And then what do you call it? Gave it to him because of the story and all that, and he could have fed her some bullshit about how he's just trying to get back home. And then just lie about it. Like, oh, I have this.
Nakia.
Because there's no way in hell that motherfucker has had it. Like I said, there's no way he's had it his whole life.
Nakia, I think is her name.
That's her name. Yeah. I honestly, it's funny because you mentioned it. I was like, I don't recall them ever like really saying how they get it. And the only people that showed it were like him and the two dudes in the room with Chaka. They did the whole Forrest Whitaker's character and the other guy.
Yeah.
Those are the only people that did that. I didn't see Chala go, I got it too. Saying, what's
we
funny?
all see the tattoo now.
It's funny. I remember somebody going that one of their favorite lines is, "Hey, auntie." That shit is so annoying. When he sees thing, I was like, somebody shoot him now.
Honestly, I think that's one of the lines that's like, if you just go past the surface of it, it's probably the most disrespectful line he could have said. Even more disrespectful than just walking up like, "Hey, bitch!" Like,
it's funny because if you know anything, it's like when it's royalty, you don't address the queen pretty much in any sense. You have to like speak through somebody. You know what I mean? And nobody knew who he was yet. I'd have been on some like, kill him now, get rid of him.
Yeah, right.
Let's go. Why are we thinking about this?
If he would have went to Zamunda, they'd have killed his ass. That's the fucking fact.
Zamunda, the original Wakanda.
Word.
The original Wakanda.
Yeah, the Zamundas don't play that shit.
I remember when I was a kid and I saw Coming to America, and when he goes, "Hello, Babar," I was like, I used to love that cartoon. Elephants dressed as royalty. I used to love that. I used to go, damn. I try to watch it now, and I was like, doesn't hold up. Not good.
Yo, there's a ton of shit that as kids. Yo, this is why when people are like, "Oh, kids are so intelligent nowadays," I'm like, no, they're not. Like, look at what the fuck they watching. They're not. They're just as dumb as we were.
No, yeah. See, like even though those PSAs at the end of the shows, I was like, I'm not using that dumb shit I actually did. I'm saying don't play with fire. Too late. I learned the hard way, brother.
Yeah, how you gonna tell us not to play with fire? But every cool thing we've ever seen has something to do with fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Yo, so I have a character for Cap to defend.
Cool.
And it's a weird character, but it's something that I'm pretty sure a show and I can learn off of. And I want Cap to defend Spider Pig.
Spider Pig.
Or Spider Ham.
Spider Pig, Spider Ham, whatever his fucking real name is.
There's a difference. Am I defending Spider Ham or am I defending Spider Pig from The Simpsons?
Spider Ham.
You're defending Peter Porker.
Yes. Spider Ham.
So, all right. Give me a context in which I would have to defend him.
Okay, I'll give you.
There you go.
How about this one? How about the continued use of this character, but using him, let's say, in the sense of you could use him in the MCU, kind of like Howard the Duck, but not in the Spider-Verse. Him actually showing up in either one of the Spider-Mans, and it making sense. You know what I mean?
Okay, got it. Here we go. So Spider-Ham comes from universe or one of the worlds within Marvel, one of the multiverses that is anthropomorphic, which means they have animals that have human-like qualities. So every character in there is represented in some form of an animal shape. And Peter Porker is just their version of Spider-Man. They call him Spider-Ham for obvious reasons. And here's how you can defend him. Doctor Strange is going into a multiverse of madness. One of the trips that America Chavez can go into, because she has the ability to literally punch holes in dimensions. As she's looking for Doctor Strange to help her figure out this whole conundrum, one of the worlds she can go into is Spider-Ham. And they could be a funny little thing where she's like, "What the fuck? It's a pig talking." And he could be like, "What the hell are you?" Because he's never seen a human.
Yeah.
And that could be a fun little nod to get the character in. Mm-hmm. It won't detract much to the story because this would be early on in the film before we get to all the serious shit and what I was hoping would be more horror tones, but it doesn't seem to be horror. It just seems to be more a slightly darker MCU shit.
It's funny because Moon Knight seems more horror than that. When Kenshu's chasing him, I was like, but I mean, we haven't seen much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it.
That's the easiest way. That's the easiest way to bring him in. And on top of that, it does much like Howard the Duck. You bring him in, you show him. It's a funny little clip, but you don't really have to do shit beyond that. Like he doesn't. We know he exists, and if there's a funny way later on down the line to bring him in for something, or like one of those stupid after credit scenes, cool. But you get your fill of him. You do it in a way that doesn't detract from anything. And again, you don't have to put him out there. It's kind of like Gator Loki.
Okay.
You see him, he's cool, but we don't need a fucking movie about him, or he doesn't need to be in anything else. We got him. Done deal.
I would like to see like a post-credit scene where he's swinging and he's still going, what the hell was that? Like, I have no idea what was that. He's on some, who's an American Chavez? He's just swinging.
Yo, it would be, so if we can get back to a time where the end credit scenes didn't have to tie into shit and we could just have fun with it, it'd be super cool for America Chavez to run into him. They had their little exchange. They go back, and then an end credit scene where you see Spider-Ham talking to someone. And he's like, yo, you get a load of the chick that came through with those weird-ass star powers? She punched a star and just showed up. And then they pull the camera back, and it's Deadpool. And Deadpool's talking to him like, yep, thanks a lot, Pete. I'm out. And then he just calls for the credits to roll or the editor to edit him out of the scene or some shit. And they can just play off the fact that they break the fourth wall and it's a kooky-ass thing. And again, another way to sneak Deadpool into the MCU without actually disrupting anything before he's officially put in.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because it would be Deadpool to talk to him. You imagine he goes, I wonder what you're like in human form. What's human? Good question. Because, Deadpool and Peter Parker are like.
Yeah.
You can even have Deadpool make the joke. He'd be like, yo, if you were human, I guarantee your name would be Peter Parker.
That'd be something.
Yeah. That's an interesting way of doing it. Yeah. Somebody would be like, once they see Spider-Ham, they'd be like, oh, he needs his own series. No, he doesn't. Just take it at what it is. Stop doing that.
No, but you know what you can do? We have Disney Plus, we have Hulu, whatever. If they show them up and people like them so much, give him an animated series. Let him fucking do some shit on his own so people can have it and they got their fix.
I would love to see Dr. Octopus as his villain. Just sit there and go, yeah, that's about right.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, before we just a little sidetrack. So you know how Doc Ock was Superior Spider-Man and he took over the body of a clone Spider? Doc Ock has done it again. And he has now his Superior 4, where he has his own version of Ghost Rider, Wolverine, the Hulk, and another fucking character. I forget who it is, but he's got his own 4, in which he's somehow piloting all 4.
Wow.
How the fuck he do that?
Yeah, dude, I don't have no fucking clue.
That's crazy.
But you know what happened is Marvel, the what do you call it? The article I was reading was less about the actual comic and more about how Marvel found something that worked and is shamefully trying to just wring it for all it's worth.
That's Marvel's go-to. They said, all right, this worked once, let's destroy this completely.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying they did that that King Black thing, or the Null thing. They're still going to go back to that like in a year to absolutely murder it. Where Eddie Brock loses the fact that he leads the symbiotes.
Either that or somebody else is going to try to challenge him for the title. And
absolutely correct.
I can see it now. The flashy headline: "There's a new King in Black."
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And the funny thing that had such a good run by itself. If you read it, you go, now we can never go back to it and leave it alone. But not Marvel. No, sir. No. That's just stupid.
You know something though? That's partially Marvel running out of ideas and trying to do some shit. But that's also partially our fault as fans, because fans only gravitate to a certain shit.
True.
It's not like back in the day where you put out a comic, we will read a comic. Now it's the fucking 6-second TikTok crowd. Is like, if you don't like Krills, if you don't catch him in the first 5 minutes or 5 seconds, he's out.
Yep, absolutely. It's funny because the thing I've never liked is when you have one character that has 4 different comics.
Yeah.
Why does Batman have 4 different comics going on at once? I'm reading 2 of them, right? And I finished one. I'm like, all right. And then I read another one, and it's like Batman in the future, then Batman in Europe. And I'm like, why so much Batman? I love Batman myself, but I'm like, yo, can we have one comic that that's it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there could have been like 3 or 4 issues where he's in Europe. He don't need to be in Europe.
Yeah, like he can through his whole storyline, he can go through it.
Yeah,
because time travel, everybody can do it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, why is there Batman in the future that has absolutely no money, and then in Europe he's in Europe in a fucking bat semi truck, and now he has Batman International, like plugs everywhere, and meanwhile in the future he's broke. He's working out of a basement.
Yeah, because International didn't work.
Apparently something went wrong. And then in another comic, somewhere else, Nightwing has inherited all of Alfred's money. Alfred had billions apparently and left it all to Dick. And in this one, I believe Batman's dead. I believe Batman's dead. So he is like trying to, do all this thing with the money. And I'm like, what? It's all the same characters, the same people. But in the future one, Nightwing is there and he's 30. He's young. And I'm like,
dude, I want somebody to look this up to see what came first, because Captain America died, right? And before he came back, it was told that he didn't actually fully die. It's Red Skull was holding his body in a state of suspended animation, and his mind was reliving all of his events. Mm-hmm. So he was going chronologically all the way from World War II all the way back up until he freed himself and came back, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Then Batman died, and he didn't really die. He was just transported directly into time and was fighting his way through time. So he was a dinosaur fighter. He was a fucking pirate in the fucking Middle Ages. He was a knight, and he was just working his way back up to time. And I want to find out which one did it first, because for somebody saw that and was like, "Oh, we're just gonna do that again."
So copy and paste. And it's that whole thing like, yo, listen, copy my homework, but do it differently. No. That's what I'm saying. I remember this. I never get the comic book thing. It's like one character has 3 different comics going at once. I'm like, which one is the real Batman? They're all called Bruce Wayne, but they're all happening at the same time.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's everybody's has. This is the one thing about comics that I've never liked. I've never liked the inability to keep characters dead if you say they died, and the inability to make new characters. 70 years of Batman. Cool. We don't need, like you said, we don't need 4 books of that. How about Swamp Thing gets one? How about Animal Man? How about fucking Booster Gold? How about you build up somebody else so that you have an entire roster, so that if you want to make movies, you don't have to rely on Michael Keaton and Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher, Christopher Nolan, Matt Reeves, and everybody taking a million shots at fucking Batman. You have other characters.
Yeah, here's a funny part, right? You're coming out with a Blue Beetle movie, right? Eventually, right? They got the cast, they got everybody right. Why doesn't the Blue Beetle have his own comic going right now?
Yeah,
it could lead right into the movie. And then you know what's funny? As you're doing that, you introduce Booster Gold because they have like this budding thing, and he can because apparently the movie's going to go straight to HBO Max, right? Booster Gold can be introduced at the end of it on some Deadpool shit. Like, who the hell are you? I'm Booster Gold, the superhero of the future. Who? End scene right there. Booster Gold is in the next one. Like, you see Robbie Ray is like, who? The hell are you? I'm just saying. And the thing is, in the comic, and then what you do with the comic book after that movie, you follow that into the next one. What you got to do? Whatever. I don't know.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, Captain America died in 2007, and Batman: Legends of the Dark Knight #65 came out in 1994, and that's when the Joker killed him.
So Batman did it first.
No, so that's not the run I'm talking about, because the Batman run was in the 2000s somewhere, where he had to travel through time. Because I think it preceded the whole Batman Inc.
Okay,
while he was away, some Dick Grayson became Batman. Then somebody popped up in Japan. Then somebody popped up in Africa.
So there's a Legends of the Dark Knight issue #65 that came out 2012 to 2015. Is that what you were talking about? Is what?
Dude, if you look up, this is I don't have my phone, but if you look up like Pirate Batman and find out what issue, I shit you not.
No, I remember. It's funny. I remember something of that, but you know what I really remember from Batman: Brave and the Bold. And by the way, that one was fun. Never took it seriously, but it was pretty fun. But I know what you're talking about. That he literally every variation of Batman. Somehow Batman was everywhere. He was a caveman. He was a swashbuckler. They even referenced the thing where he's like Sherlock Holmes at one point. Yeah, the steampunk one, the gaslight one. I'm like, what? What are we doing? I was like, yo, if he becomes a hippie, I'm gonna get upset. Batman smoking weed.
Very nice.
You got the bat bong? Let's hit this.
Here,
Alfred sitting at Woodstock.
Oh, hey, right.
Yeah, I can see the panel now. Him and the Joker sitting at Woodstock smoking, and the Joker be like, "Well, Bats, I told you the Grateful Dead was good," and it's just Harley Quinn like dancing in the fucking foreground.
I can definitely see that. You know what I'm saying? And somehow it's the bat suit, but like in hippie clothes. You're like,
no, you know what it is? He's wearing tie-dye, except for the bat symbol in the middle.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, I imagine him in the 70s.
He just has a bandana.
In the 70s, there has to be some kind of cocaine reference. Like Bane goes, "Oh, I got that stuff." I know you do, Bane. I know you do, brother. Let me get the line of that venom.
Yo, real quick, I want to hear Show defend Thanos. The MCU Thanos. I want to see him defend him snapping half the universe away.
Oh, okay.
It was inedible.
Yeah, you can't eat that. But
it was an edible. Did you just go with my whole weed reference?
What is it to defend? He's the strongest villain of all MCU. He the only man to defeat the Avengers. I'm lying. In the comic books.
Baron Zemo.
Yeah. But did he do that in the movies?
Civil War, he tore him apart.
Yeah, he did.
Without ever having to throw a punch.
Nope.
Damn. All right, fuck it.
And he's a hell of a dancer.
Oh yeah.
Smooth. I want to see more.
Oh man. Yeah. It's hard to defend them though, because
defending the snap, his snap.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You see, you ain't let me cut in. It's hard to defend the snap itself. I mean, it was vastly to impress a woman. He got rid of half of the population. I don't think that, man.
Well, I was talking about in the MCU, but we could do the comics if you want.
What was the reason? So it was a different reason in the movies?
Yeah.
Were you not paying attention?
I was paying attention. I thought it.
So there was overpopulation, and they were using way more resources than they had, or they were actually using resources more quickly than they can replenish them. So his plan was to kill half of the people, thus having more resources, and actually teaching people a lesson as to not use so many resources so quickly, and hope to bring a balance. That's his plan in a nutshell.
And that's why it's edible.
So Thanos was kind of like COVID. Got it. Yikes. You can edit that out. I say Thanos was kind of like COVID. Ooh, conspiracy theory. Too many people. Gotta get rid of them.
What?
I said conspiracy theory. Don't mind me. That's how my brain works. That's how I looked at COVID at the beginning. I thought we were getting overpopulated, and it was the government's way of fixing the problem without people knowing.
Well, I can believe that because the government said that somebody fucked a monkey and came back with AIDS. So why not eat a bat?
COVID and Thanos are the same thing.
Yeah. COVID snapped.
The COVID is the snap. We need to fix the world. Okay. We need to get rid of half of the population. Too much pollution. Too many vehicles. Anyways.
And the vaccine of the Infinity Rings.
So then the vaccine is Iron Man.
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, actually the Hulk, to be honest with you. Because the Hulk brought everybody back.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we just need Iron Man to snap the fucking COVID away.
Absolutely correct. Yes, there it is. There it is. There you go. Sure, that's how we make logic of what you just said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
So, sure. Here's an easier task for you. How about you pick a character that you think is difficult to defend, regardless if it is or not, just whoever you think is difficult to defend, and you give one to each of us.
Mm-hmm. You know what? How about I give you the same guy? Maybe I could defend them at the same time. Because
hold on, you can't think of three people.
Nah, it's the one guy that everybody skipped around. The asshole, Mr. Star of the Night, Mr. Star-Lord. Is there a way to defend this guy? I mean, it was his wife, his woman.
You're gonna defend him, and then want us to defend him?
No, I'm just starting. It was his woman, man, and he killed her. And this is the only chance I got to talk to him face to face, bro. While Mantis is holding him. You never lost your temper.
You want us to defend Star-Lord?
Yeah.
No, I think he wants to defend Star-Lord,
but that's what it sounds like.
Yo, Lay, I swear to God, I heard, Lay, do me a favor, defend Howard the Duck, the man that fucks women on the regular, that came to fight Thanos when he snapped out the finger.
With one phrase.
Like my man.
Movie. Yeah. Hello.
But my man said, I want you to defend this guy, and then gave all the points. The first Marvel movie, yeah.
I think you defended him enough for everybody. Right? You could think of three people, seriously? Really?
Can I think of?
Have we not impart this much knowledge to you of comics?
I think I could think of three people. Three people that need to be defended.
The only thing he learned from us, Lay, is that we have the best directing, the cinematography that we say is awesome.
For the culture.
Cap uses big words, and someone has a synapses on their face.
At the end of the day, it's all phenomenal.
Yeah. It's for the culture, Joe.
It's for the culture. I believe I could give you 3 people. That's not that bad.
And to make it
we got
First
3
look 'em
minutes.
up. First
3
look 'em up.
minutes. All right. So 1 person a minute. I like it. That's simple. We're gonna start off. I'm gonna give you Hawkeye to begin with.
You have to give it to somebody.
I'm gonna give Hawkeye to Toe since it's the easier one.
All right.
I didn't see that one coming. That's a good one.
All right. Well, first off, Hawkeye is the greatest archer in the world. He learned from Shang-Chi and Cap on how to fight. Well, he learned from Cap and the swordsman on how to fight with the sword. So he's multifaceted when it comes to weapons. He's a tactical genius. You know, he works for Shield, so he's almost like a secret agent. And he's a human that can defend himself on a levels Avenger threat, which is not bank robberies and just regular people with guns doing shit. These are aliens. These are superhuman powered people. These are people like Thanos. He has no problem going, you need me to fight the fight, I'll fight the fight. He was Captain America at one point. He took up the mantle of Captain America. He's an inspiration to a lot of the young Avengers. He's an original Avenger. He's up there with the fighting ability of Wanda. He's just, if you don't respect him for the shit that he did in the MCU, you gotta respect him for the shit that he's doing in the comics, because he's not like Batman. He's a regular man with a bow and arrow fighting aliens and fighting mega level threats. And that's enough said.
Yeah, if I cut out, it's because my phone died.
All right. So let me give the before he cuts out to you, Cap. I'm gonna give you Quicksilver.
Ooh, okay. So Quicksilver is one of the first characters to actually go from villain to hero, to be inducted into the Avengers, to earn the trust of the Avengers. He's probably the best big brother in all the comics, because there's nothing he won't do to protect Wanda. Like, you ain't getting near Wanda with him around. He is generally regarded as probably one of the best speedsters that Marvel has, even though he himself is not that fast comparatively. So that's something that you got to take into account, where you can get people to admire you so much, even though you're not the top of what you can do. He has 2 great scenes in the X-Men movies where they show how his speed works. He has an actual fucking great arc in Age of Ultron. Depending, say what you want about that movie, but his arc from where he first meets Hawkeye is like, oh, you didn't see that coming? To where he then saves Hawkeye. Like, that's one of the true best arcs in a Marvel movie. It's self-contained, you feel for him, and you really get to see the impact that he had through WandaVision and through her grieving and wanting to see Pietro. So he's also one of the he's one of those guys that has never, and if he has, it's only been for a few seconds, but even when he's a good guy, he's never really been part of the X-Men. And that's rare for a mutant to not show up on the X-Men side. That's something to be commended. Not to fall into that trap of everybody's got to show up at the mansion at some point. And I'm not talking about the Fox movies, because I'm talking about the comic book version of him.
Very nice. That's a good defense. And last but not least, that's what I said. It's a great defense. To you, Mr. Lay, I'll give you an option. I'll give you the most underrated team of the Avengers, Mantis, or you could have Bucky, your favorite.
No, Bucky's kind of already said, but I'll take Mantis. Depicted in the comics, depicted in the MCU a little way weaker than she really is. Amazing martial artist in the comics. Honestly, one of the better parts of really the original Guardians of the Galaxy, the comic version, with Yondu in it and everything. Honestly, top tier. She gives Gamora a run for her money in the comics. She'll give anybody when it comes to fighting ability a run for their money, you know. And I mean they depicted her really weak and weird in the MCU. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it because they could have. I don't understand. You already had a badass female energy Gamora and Nebula, but you could have had three, and it would have made perfect sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't need to dumb down a character that her skill legitly is the fact that she has super strength and stuff like that, but her ultimate ability is the fact that she can fight, and she has a tactical mind as well. So that would be my defense of Manta.
So she shouldn't be acting like like a Asian exchange student, because that's kind of what she reminded me.
You said that, not me.
There you go.
We're gonna leave that completely alone.
And it seems like Cap's phone died, so we're gonna call it a night.
Perfect.
You guys did a hell of a job defending the characters that you don't like, defending characters that off the cuff, and we came up with some impromptu shit.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for next week when we hear Cabs talk about Aquaman. That's definitely something that we need to hear. I don't know what we're gonna talk about next week, but I do have a list that you and Cap came up with a couple weeks ago that I'll probably run down the list and let you guys know. But for right now, that's it for everybody. It's your funny neighborhood knucklehead signing out. Peace, everyone. Appreciate y'all coming by.